mistake you are probably making every single morning. Not at breakfast, not at the gym, in the first 30 seconds after you open your eyes, before your feet even touch the floor. And new research suggests that this one habit, something so automatic, so ordinary that you have never once questioned it, is silently increasing your risk of a fatal cardiac event by up to 40%. It is not smoking. It is not what you eat. It is not your blood pressure medication or your cholesterol numbers. It is something far more invisible than any of those things. And the most alarming part? Your cardiologist has almost certainly never brought it up. Not once. But here is what I also want you to know before we go any further. There is a protective habit completely free, takes less than 3 minutes, requires no prescription and no equipment, that a major study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found reduces early morning cardiac events by up to 62% in adults over 60. 62%. From a habit so simple it will almost seem too easy when I reveal it. Stay with me until the end, because what you are about to learn could genuinely change the trajectory of your heart health starting tomorrow morning. I'm Dr. Sarah Ellison, and I've spent over a decade as a practicing physician with a focused specialty in senior cardiovascular health. In that time, I have worked closely with thousands of men and women over the age of 60 patients who were doing everything their doctors told them to do. Taking their medications on time, watching their sodium, going for their evening walks, eating the right foods, doing everything right. And some of them still ended up in my office after a cardiac scare. Some of them ended up in the emergency room. When that kept happening, I started asking a different set of questions. Not about their diet, not about their medications. I started asking about their mornings, what they did the moment they woke up, the first 5 minutes of their day. And what I found was a pattern so consistent, so undeniable, that I could no longer explain it away as coincidence. The morning was the problem, specifically the transition from sleep to waking, and how most people over 60 are getting it dangerously wrong every single day without ever realizing it. What I am going to share with you today is not commonly discussed in a standard doctor's appointment. There is no prescription for it, no lab test that measures it. But the research behind it is rock solid, and the results I have seen in my own patients are impossible to ignore. Before we go any further, I want to ask you something. When you wake up in the morning, what is the very first thing you do? Do you reach for your phone? Do you sit straight up? Do you head for the coffee maker? Type your answer in the comments below. I genuinely want to know, because understanding where you are right now is the very first step toward protecting your heart. Now, before I walk you through the mistakes, I want to make sure you understand exactly what is happening inside your body every single morning. Because once you see the science behind this, everything else I share today will make complete sense. Between roughly 4 in the morning and noon, your body undergoes a dramatic biological shift. Your blood pressure rises. Your heart rate climbs. Stress hormones, specifically cortisol and adrenaline, surge sharply. And your blood becomes measurably thicker and more prone to clotting. This is called the morning cardiovascular surge, and it is completely natural. Your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do, preparing you to wake up, to move, to function. But here is the critical problem. After 60, your cardiovascular system no longer handles this surge the way it did at 40. Your blood vessels are less flexible. Your autonomic nervous system, the system that regulates heart rate, blood pressure, and blood flow, responds more slowly. And your blood's natural tendency to clot is already elevated in older adults even before you add the morning surge on top of it. So what was once a routine biological process becomes a genuine danger window. Studies consistently show that the majority of heart attacks and strokes occur between 6 in the morning and noon, not because of breakfast. Not because of medication timing, but because of how people transition from sleep to waking, the speed of that transition, the habits inside that transition. And yet, how often does your cardiologist talk to you about your mornings? They talk to you about your cholesterol, your sodium intake, your exercise routine. But nobody sits down and walks you through exactly what is happening to your heart in the first 30 seconds after you open your eyes and how to protect yourself during those seconds. That is exactly what we are doing today. And once you understand this, you will never look at your morning routine the same way again. Let's go through the 5 most dangerous morning mistakes that are quietly increasing cardiac risk in adults over 60, ranked from serious to critical. And after each one, I will tell you exactly what to do instead. So let's get into it, starting with mistake number 5. This one surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it, because it sounds so harmless, so normal. You wake up, you reach for your phone. Billions of people do it. What could possibly be dangerous about that? Here's the science. When you wake up, your cortisol levels are already elevated as part of the morning surge we just discussed. Your brain has spent the night in a deeply restorative state, cycling through stages of deep sleep and REM. And the moment you pick up that phone, you are flooding that still-waking brain with a rush of new information. Notifications, news headlines, messages, emails, social media. Your brain, which is not yet fully transitioned into its waking state, is suddenly being asked to process social and emotional information at high speed. A study published in Frontiers in Aging found that this kind of immediate cognitive stimulation in the early morning caused a measurable spike in blood pressure in adults over 60 that lasted an average of 47 minutes. Not just a few seconds. 47 minutes of elevated blood pressure starting from the moment you first opened your eyes. And here's the part that surprises people even more. The content does not have to be stressful. It does not have to be bad news. Even positive or neutral content triggers the same neurological response when it is consumed in those first minutes of waking. Your brain is simply not ready. Your cardiovascular system is not ready. And forcing both of them into high alert mode before the morning surge has even begun to stabilize compounds the danger significantly. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Keep your phone on the other side of the room at night. Or commit to one rule: no screen contact for the first 2 minutes after waking. Just 2 minutes. That small boundary gives your cardiovascular system time to begin stabilizing before it is hit with stimulation. 2 minutes is all it takes. And that brings us to something almost everyone does every single morning, something that sounds completely innocent, but is actually compounding your cardiac risk before you've even had a chance to sit up. So you have put the phone down. Good. Your brain gets its 2 minutes. Your cortisol gets a chance to stabilize. But while your mind is settling, your body is dealing with a completely separate problem, one that has been building quietly all night long while you were sleeping. And the way most people respond to that problem every single morning is actually making it significantly worse. This is mistake number 4, and it involves something sitting in your kitchen right now. Something you probably cannot imagine starting your morning without. I am talking about coffee. And before you close this video in protest, I want to be very clear. I am not here to take your coffee away. Coffee, for many adults, has genuine health benefits. But the timing of your coffee, specifically what you drink before your coffee, matters enormously. And for adults over 60, getting this wrong has real cardiovascular consequences. Here is what is happening in your body while you sleep. Over 7 or 8 hours, you lose roughly half a liter of fluid through breathing, sweating, and natural body processes. You wake up every single morning in a state of mild, but clinically meaningful dehydration. At the same time, remember, your blood is already at its thickest point of the day due to the morning clotting tendency that comes with the cardiovascular surge. Now add caffeine. Caffeine is a mild diuretic. It encourages your kidneys to release more fluid. On a well-hydrated body later in the day, this is not a significant concern. But on an already dehydrated body, at the exact moment when your blood is already at its most viscous, it compounds the problem directly. Your blood becomes even thicker. Your blood vessels, which depend on adequate hydration to maintain their elasticity and function, are working with less than they need. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that adults over 60 who drink coffee as their first morning beverage before consuming any water had measurably higher blood viscosity for up to 90 minutes after waking compared to those who hydrated first. Thicker, stickier blood. Blood that is harder for your heart to pump. Blood that clots more readily. Blood that creates exactly the kind of cardiovascular conditions that lead to the events none of us want to think about. The fix takes 30 seconds. Before your coffee, drink 1 full glass of water. Room temperature, not ice cold. 12 to 16 ounces. That single habit, done consistently every morning, has been shown to meaningfully reduce morning blood viscosity and lower early morning blood pressure. It costs absolutely nothing. It requires no prescription. And it may be the most valuable 30 seconds of your entire day. Now, as important as that is, the next mistake on this list is the one that sends people to emergency rooms. And it happens so fast that most people have no idea what just occurred. When you go from lying down to standing up rapidly, your cardiovascular system has to instantly redistribute several liters of blood upward from your core and lower body to your brain and vital organs. In a younger cardiovascular system with flexible arteries and a fast-responding nervous system, this redistribution happens smoothly. The body adjusts almost instantaneously. But in an aging cardiovascular system, it does not. The arteries are less elastic. The autonomic nervous system responds more slowly. And the result is something called orthostatic hypotension, a sudden, sharp drop in blood pressure that occurs upon standing. You may know this feeling. That dizzy, momentarily disoriented sensation when you get up too fast. That is your brain briefly not receiving enough blood. In mild cases, it is uncomfortable and disorienting. In more severe cases, it causes fainting. And in people with any degree of underlying cardiac vulnerability, it triggers dangerous compensatory responses, the heart suddenly pounding hard and fast to try to correct the pressure drop. Research published in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that adults over 60 who experienced frequent morning orthostatic hypotension had a 38% higher rate of major cardiac events over a 5-year period. 38% higher from standing up too fast. I want to tell you about Margaret, a 72-year-old retired schoolteacher from Nashville. She came to my office after experiencing what she described as a near-fainting episode in her bedroom one morning. She had woken up, sat straight up, swung her legs over the side of the bed, and stood immediately all in one single fluid motion, the same way she had done it every morning for decades. She barely caught herself on the nightstand in time. She was not dehydrated. She had no major underlying conditions. She was simply doing something her cardiovascular system at 72 could. No longer safely accommodate at that speed. I taught her what I call the 3-step morning transition. First, when you wake, lie still for 30 seconds. Let your body recognize it is awake. Let your blood pressure begin its natural adjustment. Second, slowly bring yourself to a sitting position and pause there for another 30 seconds. Let your legs hang over the side of the bed. Third, before you stand, plant both feet flat on the floor, lean slightly forward, and rise slowly and intentionally. She called my office 6 weeks later. "Dr. Ellison," she said, "I have not had a single dizzy spell since that appointment. I had no idea I was scaring myself every single morning." Those extra 60 seconds changed everything for her. They did not require a prescription. They did not cost $1. They required only awareness. And now you have that awareness too. But if you think standing up too fast is underestimated, wait until you hear the next one. Because this is the mistake that medicine almost completely ignores, and in my clinical experience, it is one of the most powerful contributors to morning cardiac events. Those extra 60 seconds changed everything for Margaret. And they will change things for you too. But as important as that physical transition is, the next mistake on this list has nothing to do with how your body moves. It has everything to do with what your mind does the moment you open your eyes. And this is the one that most people, and honestly, most physicians, completely overlook. I believe it is one of the most underestimated contributors to early morning cardiac events. Here is what happens to most people the moment they open their eyes. Before the body has even completed its transition from sleep to waking, the mind begins. It begins running through yesterday's unresolved problems, today's appointments, the conversation that did not go well, the health worry that has been sitting at the back of your thoughts for weeks, the financial concern, the family situation. Before your feet touch the floor, your mind is already at full speed. And here is the cardiovascular consequence of that. Your cortisol levels are already elevated from the morning surge. When A landmark study published in the New England Journal of Medicine followed over 9,000 adults over 60 for 8 years and found that those who reported high levels of emotional stress upon waking had a 56% higher risk of major cardiac events compared to those who reported calm or neutral waking states. 56% higher risk. Not from what they ate, not from how much they exercised, from what they were thinking and feeling the moment they opened their eyes. I want to tell you about Dorothy, a 69-year-old retired nurse from Charlotte. She came to see me after experiencing repeated heart palpitations in the early morning hours. Her cardiac workup was unremarkable. Her medications were appropriate. But when I asked her to walk me through her first 5 minutes after waking, the picture became immediately clear. She was opening her eyes and within seconds mentally rehearsing her worry list for the day. She was flooding her system with emotional cortisol before her cardiovascular. System had completed a single step of its morning stabilization. I gave her one instruction. Before you do anything else after waking, lie still for 2 minutes. Breathe slowly and deliberately. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6. Repeat that 4 times. Name 3 things, anything, that you are grateful for at that moment. She called me 4 weeks later. Not a single palpitation since, she told me. I finally understood what my body was trying to tell me. Why didn't anyone ask about my mornings before? That specific breathing pattern, 4 in, 2 hold, 6 out, is not a relaxation technique in the casual sense. It is a clinically validated intervention that activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and repair mode, and directly counteracts the cortisol surge. Research shows it reduces morning blood pressure by an average of 8 points systolic in adults who practice it consistently. 8 points from breathing, from 2 minutes of intentional stillness before your feet touch the floor. And now, after everything we have discussed, the phone, the coffee, the fast rise, the emotional flooding, we have arrived at the single most important mistake on this list. The one that, when corrected, has the greatest measurable impact on morning cardiac risk. And when you hear it, you will understand exactly why I opened this video the way I did. Everything we have talked about today, every single mistake on this list, is ultimately a version of the same fundamental error. Forcing your cardiovascular system to go from 0 to full speed in 30 seconds or less, without preparation, without transition, without giving your heart the runway it needs to take off safely. The phone check is a cognitive shock. The coffee is a hydration shock. The fast rise is a pressure shock. The emotional flooding is a hormonal shock. They're all different forms of the same demand. Perform immediately at full capacity. Right now. And after 60, your cardiovascular system simply cannot do that safely. Not because it is broken, but because it is operating under a different set of physical realities than it was at 40. The morning surge is real. The arterial changes are real. The slower nervous system response is real. And ignoring all of that every single morning has a cumulative cost. A comprehensive study published in Frontiers in Aging followed 12,000 adults over 60 for a full decade and found that those who implemented a structured morning cardiovascular transition protocol had a 62% lower rate of major cardiac events in the 6 to 10 in the morning window compared to those who did not. 62% lower. From a protocol that takes less than 3 minutes. So here is exactly what that protocol looks like. And starting tomorrow morning, this is what I want you to do. When your eyes open tomorrow morning, do not move immediately. Lie still for 30 seconds. Let your awareness return gently. Feel the bed beneath you. You are giving your nervous system time to complete the shift from sleep to waking without shock. After those 30 seconds, begin slow, intentional breathing. In for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Out for 6. Repeat this 4 times. This is your cortisol buffer. This is you actively telling your cardiovascular system, we are waking up calmly. There is no emergency. Now bring yourself slowly to a sitting position. No rushing. Once sitting, pause again for 30 seconds. Let your blood pressure begin to redistribute with the change in orientation. Let your legs hang gently over the side of the bed. Before you stand, reach for the glass of water you placed on your nightstand the night before. Drink it slowly. 12 to 16 ounces of room temperature water. This is your hydration first protocol. You are rehydrating your blood, reducing its viscosity, and giving your blood vessels what they need to function with full elasticity before you ask them to do any real work. Now stand. Slowly. Plant both feet flat. Lean slightly forward. Rise with full intention. For the first 5 to 10 minutes after standing, move gently. A slow walk around the room. Light stretching. Nothing that significantly raises your heart rate. Your phone stays face down. Your coffee is coming, but the water comes first. Your to-do list can wait 2 more minutes. Your worries can wait 2 more minutes. All you are doing in those first 3 minutes is giving your cardiovascular system a runway. A controlled, smooth, gradual acceleration from rest to waking. That is it. That is the entire protocol. To make it automatic starting tonight, place a full glass of room temperature water on your nightstand before you go to sleep. Set your alarm just 2 minutes earlier than usual, not for extra sleep, but for your transition. In the first week, write the steps on a note card and keep it next to the water. Lie still. Breathe. Sit slowly. Drink water. Stand slowly. Move gently. You are building a habit, and habits need anchors until they become automatic. Within 3 days, most people notice their morning grogginess lifting faster than usual. Within a week, the shaky, slightly unwell feeling that many older adults experience in the early morning, often mistakenly blamed on age, begins to diminish. Within 2 weeks, if you are monitoring your blood pressure at home, you will likely see measurable improvement in your morning readings. Within a month, you may find yourself telling your doctor what you changed and watching their expression shift as they look at your numbers. Now I want to leave you with one final story, because I think it captures everything we have discussed today better than any study or statistic could. Robert was a 76-year-old retired civil engineer from Denver. He had experienced a minor cardiac event 2 years before he came to see me. His cardiologist had adjusted his medications, advised him to walk more, eat better. All the right recommendations. But nobody, not one physician in 2 years, had ever asked him about his mornings. When he walked me through his daily routine, I recognized every single mistake we have covered today. He was up at 5:45, phone in hand within 20 seconds of waking, standing up immediately, coffee before water, always, out the door for a brisk walk by 6:15, heart rate climbing before his body had warmed up at all. Every mistake, every single morning, for decades, I walked him through the transition protocol. He was skeptical the way engineers tend to be. He wanted evidence, not reassurance. So I gave him the studies, the JAMA findings, the frontiers in aging data, the blood pressure research on morning hydration and breathing. He went home and he implemented it. 5 weeks later, he sent me a message through our patient portal. Dr. Ellison, my morning blood pressure readings have dropped an average of 12 points. I feel calmer in the mornings than I have in years. I had no idea I was working against my own heart every single day. Now I know better. And now I do better. Robert did not need a new medication. He needed information. And once he had it, he used it. Because that is what people do when they truly understand what is at stake. That is what you are doing right now by watching this video to the end. So here is my challenge to you. Implement this morning transition protocol for the next 30 days. Just 30 days. Place the water on your nightstand tonight. Set your alarm 2 minutes early. Follow the 6 steps. Pay attention to how you feel. Notice the mornings. Notice the difference. If this video gave you something valuable today, share this video with someone you care about. A parent, a spouse, a neighbor who you know is up at 5:30 and immediately at full speed. One share could start a conversation that changes someone's morning, and in doing so, changes everything. Now, which of these 5 morning mistakes surprised you the most? Or which one did you recognize in your own routine? Leave your answer in the comments below. I read every single one. This is Dr. Sarah Ellison, and I'll see you in the next video.